12 weight training myths you need to stop believing. Myth number 12. You need to feel the muscle burn for hypertrophy. This is perhaps the most ingrained myth among weight training practitioners. The idea that without that intense burning sensation, the workout isn't being effective for muscle growth. The burning sensation is caused by the accumulation of lactic acid and other metabolites during high-repetition exercises, which has no direct relationship with hypertrophy. Muscle growth occurs through adequate mechanical tension and recovery, not necessarily through pain or discomfort. If you applied mechanical tension in your sets, hypertrophy will happen even without feeling like you're dying. Studies show that the three main mechanisms for hypertrophy are mechanical tension, muscle damage, and metabolic stress, with mechanical tension being the most important of them. A workout with moderate to heavy loads, close to muscle failure, generates sufficient mechanical tension to stimulate growth, even without that intense, burning sensation. Different types of muscle fibers respond to different stimuli. Type 2 fibers respond better to heavier and moderate loads. Type 1 fibers respond to higher volumes and higher repetitions. To maximize your results, periodically vary your stimuli, including sets with heavier loads, sets with moderate loads, sets with lighter loads and higher volume. Number 11. You must take whey protein to gain muscles. This myth is widely spread by the supplement industry, creating the impression that without whey protein, it's impossible to develop muscles adequately. While the supplement is convenient, it's far from mandatory. Whey protein is nothing more than a practical way to consume protein. Many people have busy routines and can't cook or eat solid meals throughout the day, and whey becomes great for practicality. However, most supplements can be replaced by a well-planned and balanced diet. Proteins necessary to build muscles can be easily obtained through meats, eggs, and dairy products. A 3.5-ounce portion of chicken offers about 25 grams of high-quality protein, similar to a scoop of whey protein, with the additional benefit of vitamins and minerals. The only exception among common supplements is creatine, which has solid scientific basis and is practically impossible to consume in adequate amounts through food alone. So if you have time to eat well, whey is dispensable. Invest only in good creatine. Number 10. Always training to failure generates more results. This myth is particularly common among weight training enthusiasts who believe that if they aren't dying in each set, they aren't trying hard enough. The idea that there's only muscle growth when you can't do one more repetition is attractive, but not entirely accurate. Concentric failure can be a useful tool, but shouldn't be used in every set. Research indicates that constantly training to failure significantly increases neural fatigue and impairs recovery, potentially leading to overtraining and stagnation. Solid and consistent progress comes from structured progressive overload, not just reaching the limit in each set. A study in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research showed that training to failure didn't provide additional significant gains compared to training close to failure. For most practitioners, a more balanced approach would be reserve training to failure for final sets of each exercise. Use intensity techniques like drop sets and rest pause with moderation. Keep most sets at approximately 80 to 90% of maximum effort. Vary intensity throughout the week and training cycles. A common mistake is confusing intensity with total exhaustion in each set. This frequently leads to compromised technique, increased injury risk, and impaired recovery. Number 9. It's possible to reduce localized fat with specific exercises. Do 100 sit-ups per day to lose belly fat. Who hasn't heard something like this? This myth is particularly persistent because we'd all like it to be true. It would be very convenient to choose exactly where to lose fat. Science proves that fat loss occurs uniformly throughout the body, making it impossible to concentrate it in specific areas. Doing hundreds of sit-ups burns fat from the entire body by spending calories, not specifically from the abdominal region. A study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research in 2013 confirmed that localized exercises don't result in significant fat loss in the worked area. Participants who performed exercises for only one arm didn't show fat difference between arms after 12 weeks. Our body mobilizes fat from different deposits based mainly on genetic, hormonal, and lifestyle factors, not on which muscles are being exercised. Trying to reduce localized fat is like trying to empty only a specific corner of a full swimming pool. The water levels out equally. For effective fat reduction results, focus on caloric deficit through controlled nutrition. Perform strength training for the entire body. Incorporate cardiovascular activities to increase total caloric expenditure. Maintain consistency and patience. The The process is gradual. A common mistake is dedicating excessive time to repetitive exercises for problem areas, while neglecting more effective strategies like diet adjustments and full-body workouts. Number 8. More repetitions with less weight define more. This myth comes from confusion between the concepts of hypertrophy and muscle definition. Muscle definition is achieved through the combination of body fat reduction and increased muscle mass. Regardless of the number of repetitions or weight used, the most important factor is combining resistance exercises with diet for fat reduction. The type of training doesn't directly influence muscle definition, but rather how it develops in size and strength. Both training with high loads and few repetitions and training with moderate loads and more repetitions can promote hypertrophy, as long as they lead to adequate muscle fatigue. A study from the University of Central Florida compared two groups, one training with 8 to 12 repetitions and another with 20 to 30 repetitions to failure. The hypertrophy results were similar, demonstrating that relative effort is more important than specific repetition scheme. To optimize your results, periodically vary between different repetition ranges. Maintain load progression over time. Combine with appropriate nutritional strategy for your goals. Maintain consistency in both training and diet. A common mistake is believing that only burning the muscle with many light repetitions will bring definition. In fact, training with heavier loads can be equally or more efficient for muscle development, as long as combined with adequate nutritional strategy. Number 7. Warming up on the treadmill before training. First, do 15 minutes of treadmill to warm up. How many times have you heard this? This myth is perpetuated in gyms worldwide, but doesn't represent the most efficient way to prepare your body for a weight training workout. The ideal warm-up should be specific to the muscles that will be worked. If you're going to train biceps, doing light sets of the exercise itself with lower weights is much more effective for directing blood flow and preparing specific joints. Generic warming up on the treadmill increases general body temperature and blood flow, but doesn't adequately prepare the specific movement patterns and joints that will be demanded during your strength training. An efficient warm-up for weight training should include specific neuromuscular activation for the groups that will be trained, mobilization of joints involved in planned exercises, progressive sets with light loads of the main exercise, postural correction and activation of essential stabilizers. A mistake I see many people make is spending valuable energy on 20 to 30 minutes of cardio before strength training, arriving already partially fatigued to the main exercises. This can compromise the intensity and quality of the weight training workout. Number 6. Training abs will define your belly. This is probably one of the most widespread myths that causes the most frustration. The idea that hundreds of daily sit-ups will burn belly fat is extremely attractive, but unfortunately doesn't work that way. Defined abs depend mainly on reducing overall body fat, not just on abdominal exercises. No matter how developed your abdominal muscles are, if they're covered by a layer of fat, they won't be visible. Abdominal definition starts to appear in men generally when body fat percentage reaches approximately 12 to 15%, and in women around 18 to 20%, with individual variations. This is achieved mainly through appropriate nutrition and caloric deficit. The abdominal muscles, like any other muscle group, need rest to grow and recover. Daily training can cause overtraining and increase injury risk, especially in the lower back region. A well-planned AB workout 2 to 3 times per week is generally sufficient to develop the musculature. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress with health long-term in the world of weight training. Number 5. More sweat means a better workout. Who hasn't heard someone say, if you didn't sweat, you didn't really train? This myth remains strong in gyms, with many people judging workout quality by the amount of sweat produced. The amount of sweat varies enormously between people due to factors like genetics, physical conditioning, environmental temperature, and hydration level. Some people simply sweat more than others, under the same conditions, with no direct relationship to effort or workout quality. Sweat doesn't indicate greater caloric burn or workout effectiveness. It's just a thermoregulation mechanism of the body to maintain ideal temperature during exercise. A well-conditioned person frequently sweats less for the same work, as their cooling system has become more efficient. The real indicators of an effective workout are relative exercise intensity, progression over time, correct execution and movement control, observable muscular and performance adaptations. A common mistake is seeking to train in excessively hot environments or wearing sauna clothes believing that extra sweat means more results or localized fat loss. In fact, this only increases dehydration risk and decreases training performance. Number 4. It's impossible to gain muscles after a certain age. This myth is particularly harmful for discouraging older people from starting or continuing weight training. The belief that the body completely loses the ability to develop muscles with advancing age has no scientific support. It's possible to gain muscle mass at any age, even after 60 years, although not at the same rate as a 25-year-old person. Our anabolic potential gradually diminishes with age, mainly due to natural reduction of anabolic hormones, but doesn't disappear. Studies show that people over 65 years can not only prevent muscle loss associated with aging, but also gain significant mass with adequate resistance training. A study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology demonstrated strength gains of up to 175% in individuals between 60 to 80 years after a resistance training program. Strength training is crucial in this process, promoting increased muscle mass and improvements in strength and function, regardless of age. The capacity for hypertrophy remains, albeit at a different pace. For those at more advanced age, some adjustments are important. Longer recovery periods between workouts, more gradual and conservative load progression, greater attention to technical execution and movement control, adaptation of exercises to individual mobility. Number 3. Cardio is more important than weight training for losing weight. Many people still believe that spending hours on the treadmill or bicycle is the mandatory path for losing weight. This myth gained strength when cardio was practically synonymous with weight loss in gyms of the 80s and 90s. While cardiovascular exercises burn calories during activity, weight training has the benefit of continuing to burn calories after the workout due to increased metabolism during recovery. Additionally, muscles are metabolically more active than fat, increasing your resting caloric expenditure. Each pound of muscle added to the body can increase your basal metabolism by approximately 25 to 50 calories per day. A Harvard study that followed 10,500 men for 12 years confirmed that those who practiced weight training regularly accumulated less abdominal fat compared to those who only did aerobic activities. Can you imagine the impact of this on your body composition long-term? The beauty of strength training lies in its ability to preserve muscle mass during periods of caloric deficit, increase basal metabolic rate, improve insulin sensitivity, provide more visible aesthetic benefits. A common mistake is dedicating exclusively to cardio, neglecting strength training, and then getting frustrated with the skinny fat effect when you lose weight but maintain high fat percentage and little muscle mass. Number 2. Squats are bad for your knees. This is one of the most persistent myths in the weight training universe, frequently repeated in gyms. The idea that squats are harmful to knees arose mainly from incorrect execution of the movement and generalizations about isolated injuries. Scientific research suggests precisely the opposite when squats are executed correctly. This exercise can significantly improve knee strength and stability. A study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research showed that full squats resulted in greater benefit than partial ones, with up to 20% increase in quadriceps strength. And do you know why this happens? Squats increase muscle mass around the joint and optimize load distribution, being crucial for injury prevention. The muscular stability provided by the exercise protects joint structures. The secret is executing it correctly, maintaining knees aligned with feet, spine in neutral position, weight correctly distributed on feet, appropriate depth for your individual mobility. A mistake I see many people make is restricting range of motion out of fear, when in fact deep squats can be more beneficial for the joint than partial versions. Number 1. We should avoid carbohydrates to get defined. This myth is particularly persistent in the fitness world, especially among those seeking muscle definition at all costs. The idea that carbohydrates are villains of nutrition gained strength with fad diets and influencers who show short-term results. Carbohydrates are essential for providing immediate energy during intense workouts and for post-workout recovery. They are broken down into glucose, which is the preferred fuel used by muscle cells during high-intensity exercises. What many people don't know is that muscle glycogen, the form in which we store carbohydrates in muscles, is fundamental for maintaining training quality and intensity. When you drastically eliminate carbohydrates, your glycogen stores decrease, impairing your training performance. Cutting carbohydrates completely can lead to decreased athletic performance, mood changes, decreased cognitive function, and constant fatigue. Have you ever tried training heavy without sufficient energy? It's like trying to drive a sports car with an almost empty tank. Prioritize complex carbohydrates. Consume greater amounts of carbohydrates on intense training days. Reduce carbohydrates on rest or lower activity days. A common mistake is trying to completely eliminate carbohydrates, which frequently leads to later food compulsions. Prefer a sustainable approach, moderately reducing, but maintaining sufficient amounts to sustain your workouts. If you enjoyed this and want to also discover 11 mistakes that most people make when training and that unfortunately throw all the effort in the trash, we have a video appearing right now on screen showing each one of them better. Don't miss checking it out. Thank you for watching until here, and may God bless you, my friend.